On a Friday, and a fantastic Friday it is, as the SEC gets underway tomorrow. And we're all jacked up for this. We're going to bring back our SEC game picks for each Friday show. So we will pick all 7 SEC games later on in the show. Friday also means good news. Ain't that good news that we do every Friday to send you guys to the weekend. But leading off today's show, we'll dive into the Vols season preview, because Zach has one thing Vol fans must look for to label this 2020 season a success for Tennessee. Jeremy Pruitt got an extension yesterday. Jonathan Crompton and I talked about that. We'll talk about what me and Jonathan Crompton will be doing throughout the football season. So one thing that you want to see from the Vols football program this season, we will predict Jarrett Garantano's season in 3 words. Then we will pick all of these games. Eric Call says good morning. We say good morning to all of y'all. Zach, good morning. I'm ready for today to be over, because that means tomorrow has started and game day is here. Does that make sense? Like, I'm excited about today, but I'm ready to sleep tonight so I can wake up for a big Saturday.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a big Saturday. I'm looking forward to 11 a.m. And look, ain't that good news? What is off limits is college football is back. Yeah, no doy.
We know.
No doy. College football is back. That is great news. I'm looking forward to playing Madden here this afternoon. I've got a big game. I'm trying to go 3-0, and that stream has started to build. So make sure you check that out. But I'm excited about the college football season in general. It gets kicked off at 11 a.m., full slate of games, and then the next day, this is going to probably feel the closest to a normal weekend, and it does go towards my good news. It has nothing to do with necessarily college football is back, but mine is a feeling, okay? It's a feeling that I will disclose at the end of the show. Before we start this show, though, we need your help in sharing this show. Bottom right corner of your screen, if you're watching on Periscope/Twitter, you'll see those 3 little dots. You can share the broadcast that way. We need to pop up in your Periscope or your Twitter timeline. We need to pop up in that timeline, baby. Retweet the show. That's where we need to be. Also, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Welcome in. More people will pile in over the next 5 to 10 minutes. As you do, please share the broadcast. Bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. That is share now to public. Sharing is caring. We're going to break down SEC games. We got, look, Elk 70. He's a Buckeye. He's a Big Ten. Jeff's probably on his way in here. College football on the horizon. And you know what? Even the pansy-ass Pac-12 decided to come in and join the party, even though they were wearing Corona masks and weren't disclosing anything a couple of months ago. Now they're like, ooh, you guys are getting money. We like money too. November, Pac-12's coming back too. So I do feel like the world's starting to right itself, which is good. Let's get this party started.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at A to Z Sports. You like our Facebook page at A to Z Sports Nashville. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time. Got to thank our sponsors, because they make it happen for us and for you guys. Renters Warehouse Nashville, the professional landlords in the Nashville area. Hit them up at renterswarehouse.com to find out how much your home can rent for. Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness, 1 15-minute workout equals 5 hours in the weight room. I'm sore today because I worked out at Mandu 2 days ago. That's how it works. Mandu.com. Your first workout's free. The Tucker Agency, Nashville's independent insurance agency, saving you an average of 20% on your personal insurance at tuckertn.com. Calvin and Subtle. You want new hardwood floors that look fantastic? CalvinandSubtle.com is where to hit them up in the greater Nashville area. And the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, boneandjointtn.org. Zach, big deal that the SEC has made it to today. We've only been waiting 3 extra weeks, but it feels like longer than that. But the SEC has a full 7-game slate starting tomorrow to begin this awesome 10-game SEC schedule that I'm very excited about, because I don't know how to it's a weird thing, because I don't know how to predict or how to judge or how to set expectations, because if teams go 5-3 in an 8-game SEC schedule, that's pretty good. And you pair that with 4 non-conference wins and you're 9-3, that's a pretty solid season for a lot of SEC teams. And Tennessee had expectations of going 8-4, trying to get 9 wins under Jeremy Pruitt in year 3. But now it's kind of hard to figure out what this season's going to look like. And Jeremy Pruitt, I think a lot is riding on him because it's year 3. He just got the extension yesterday that came out from Philip Fulmer, 2-year extension. He's here in Tennessee through 2025 for his contract. But what do you want to see from this Vols football program in 2020 specifically?
So it's tough because how are we going to gauge 2020? Are we going to gauge 2020 with a full, Alabama better win the national championship, Vanderbilt, all from both ends of the spectrum? I think the real tough part for this season is teams like Tennessee, is teams like Texas A&M. It's teams like, and Florida is going to try to make that jump. But
I think Kentucky fits in that.
Kentucky's a great example. How are you going to judge these teams that usually, like an 8-win season is a great season, but a couple of those wins are Chattanooga, the school of the blind, the school of the deaf, like the not very good quality lower echelon teams. You're not going to have that benefit. I picked Vandy to go 0-4-10. Like, I don't think they're going to win the game because I think they're going to struggle. I think that they're going to get to a point, and here's a huge thing. This is on the coaches. This is why Jeremy Pruitt, he has a really tough job, and all of these coaches have a really tough job. When you get late in the season and maybe you're out of it, because bowl games, I don't think bowl games are going to happen, right? You got college football playoff. We don't really know.
Yeah.
What are you playing for? What are you playing for? And the kids, they have to have something to play for. That is an American characteristic, right? We don't
motivation.
We don't like exhibition games. We hate preseason games. They don't mean anything. I think that's the reason why America has not jumped all in on soccer, because I don't like the term friendlies, right? We're not friendlies, right? We want to play for something. We want to win. You play to win the game. It's going to be interesting to see how coaches do that. I think for the Vols' sake, they're coming off a very good year to end the year. That game was back and forth against Indiana in the bowl game, but they found a way to win. And that, I think, carried a lot of momentum into recruiting. And I think it carries a lot of momentum into 2020.
Dom says, if you put an asterisk by this season, it's because this season is way more difficult than any other.
I don't know how it's going to be viewed, though. Like, let's say the Lakers went up 3-1 last night on the Nuggets. If LeBron wins a championship in the bubble, it's 4 rings, right? Or is that 3.5 rings?
I count it because I think this year for everybody in sports, and specifically the SEC and college football, it's survival of the safest, survival of the most organized, and on the football field, because you have to make sure you get a buy-in from all your players, your entire staff, all the support staff that's around the football team to make sure that you can get through this year. I saw the stat from Ross Tucker yesterday. There's already been 21 college football games postponed, not counting SEC or Big Ten or Pac-12. I'm talking about games that were on the schedule that had to be postponed. Baylor and Houston have had a lot of them. But how does that work? Can you get through the season and be able to say, hey, we have a champion? Because I think it's difficult for everybody. I think LeBron, if he wins a title, he deserves that ring, because the bubble is a different type of adversity compared to normal playoffs. So I think I'm all about like an asterisk. We all know what 2020 is. We don't need an asterisk to remind us of what's next to 2020 in all aspects of life. We get it. But I think it's very important to be able to crown a champion at the end of the season.
All right, so let's ask this question to everybody.
Okay.
What is one thing you want to see from the Vols football program this season? What is the one thing, right? And it could be a lot of things. It could have to do with that graphic number 2 Garantano. It could have to be with the defense of Jeremy Pruitt. It could be with the win total. Do you have to win 9 games? Do you have to? You can't win 4. I don't know what yours is, but what is the one thing that you want to see from the Vols football program this season? We're doing a season preview for Tennessee, and then we're going into week one game picks that I'm deathly scared of a line because I have them all written down.
Yeah.
Often, and I have a pen today. That's how nervous I am. I don't use pens. I'm twiddling this pen. I don't know what to do on these spreads.
I always use pins. The spreads are terrifying. All right, you guys. So get your answers in. What's one thing you need to see from the Vols football program this season? But first, let me tell you guys about Renters Warehouse Nashville, the professional landlords in the Nashville and surrounding area. RentersWarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for. So many different ways they can help you out financially during this pandemic time, whether your income's down, maybe you lost a job, you don't want to panic sell your house. That's not smart. Keep building that long-term equity, and maybe Renters Warehouse can help you get some of that mailbox money. RentersWarehouse.com is where to go.
All right, A to Z Sports, we're asking you guys what's one thing you want to see from the Vols football program this coming season. I think this is going to be very, very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and pull one comment up because it goes to my answer. It is not my answer. But Hunter Sweat, he says, do not get blowed out by top teams.
Blown out or blowed out?
Blowed out.
You talking about blowed out that hair? Or are you talking
blowed
about
out? I love the comment.
Okay.
But I'm not all in line with that. That's not what I want to see. Now, those last two words, top teams, that is where I'm going with this. Because that's the one thing that I have to see from this Tennessee football team. They have to beat, not get blown out, not play close games. They have got to beat a top team this season. And I'm talking, they're going to have opportunity. They're going to have I would say 5 opportunities to beat top teams. Half of their schedule are top teams. But
top 10.
But the Tennessee Volunteers have to beat at least one, probably 2 to have it be a success. You've got Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M, Auburn, and Florida at the end of the year. That justifies what kind of team you are. And really, to me, Austin, it justifies what kind of program the Vols have. Because they're at 16 team. They're number 16 because the Big Ten and the Pac-12 aren't playing right now. But you have got to beat quality opponents. And you don't get the luxury of those non-conference games anymore to kind of get rested and lubed up.
Yeah.
You're going to have to come out and play every week, and half of your schedule is against tough, quality, blue blood opponents.
Well, and don't forget the actual blue blood in the top 25 as well. Kentucky. Kentucky's also ranked 23rd.
I do not.
I'm not saying that you're lumping Kentucky as a top team to beat.
They do not count.
Right, but I'm just saying. But as Louis brings up, 60% of the Vols schedule is ranked. Now that's because you have 40% of the Power 5 teams that are not in the top 25.
Rankings don't matter.
Well,
no.
Hold on. I'm not. You don't know what I was about to say. Because we saw the original top 25 with the Big Ten and Pac-12 involved. We saw what happens, and Tennessee was 25th in there, the original top 25. And then you had those 5 teams you talk about that are now top 10. Those 5 teams are still all top 15. So Auburn, who Jeremy Pruitt has beaten before on the road, that's an opportunity. Texas A&M with Jimbo Fisher trying to take the next step in the SEC West, that's an opportunity. And then obviously Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, getting the Gators late in the year, I think only helps Tennessee. So in that particular game, and that's what I predicted. I predicted the Vols to beat Florida on our Wednesday show to go to 6-4. Jonathan Crompton, Zach, on our Vols preview special yesterday, talking about our Big Orange halftime and postgame show we're going to have this season, he predicted that the Vols can catch Georgia early enough to potentially upset the Bulldogs because of their shaky quarterback situation and the shaky offense with a lot of new pieces involved there. So you say one thing you've got to see from the Vols this season is for them to upset one of those 5 teams, right?
Yep, that's it.
And look, I can't disagree with that. So we're asking you guys the question. We want to read your answers. what's one thing you want to see from the Vols football program this season. Brent says, I want to see one win against Georgia, Alabama, or Florida. So he's removing the 2 bonus West teams there. Dom says, definitely have to be more competitive against Alabama this year. No excuses. The Vols were very competitive against Alabama last year.
They just never win.
Until Garantano had a 14-point swing towards the end that ruined it.
They can't win.
Yeah, they didn't know how to finish that game, for sure. Johnny Lee says, hey, Zach, what's the difference between soccer-friendly, preseason game, or spring training? There is no difference. We don't like any of those. Carlton says he needs to see a fast start from the Vols. Corey says, beat South Carolina first things first. And we're going to predict that game later on in the show. Carlton says it will be fine. If the Vols will be fine if they get decent quarterback play. Brandon thinks Tennessee will beat Georgia and Auburn. Rob bringing up Jarrett Garantano year 2 under Chaney. Here's what I'm going to go with for my one thing I want to see. And it's kind of super specific. I want to see Tennessee's offense be able to run the football successfully when everybody knows they're trying to run the football. Like, they have not been able to dominate the line of scrimmage on a consistent basis for years. Maybe since Jalen Hurd's last full season in 2015. They have not been able to say, we're going to line up and run the football over you to pick up a first down and keep this drive going. They've had to rely on Jarrett Garantano throwing 3rd and 8s or 3rd and 9s to John Jennings or Marquez Callaway jump balls to convert first downs. They don't have those bailouts on the outside anymore that can just go up and win jump balls to the rate that Jennings and Callaway were doing it. So they've got to stay ahead of the chains. I want to see this offensive line that everybody's been talking about for a month plus that's really deep and really good. And maybe Cade Mays plays, maybe he doesn't. But I want to see Eric Gray be what he's being touted to be. I want to see Ty Chandler have success in the run game in his senior year, because that's only going to help Jarrett Garantano, as Tracy says, play consistent at quarterback. So I think run the football when they know you're trying to run the football. That's what I want to see, because that helps them control a football game.
I do, and I do think that would help. That helps a lot of things, right? That helps the whole team if that's a college football trait in Jim Chaney's offense. Jacob brings up Tennessee has beaten Alabama more than any other team in the nation. All right, Jacob, they've never beaten Nick Saban, and he started coaching in 2007. So don't look at history. Nobody cares about that. The Guru too says he wants to see him the Vols shock the world and win the East.
That would be a shock.
I mean, yeah, it would definitely be a shock. But let's be honest, they're third in line. I mean, they are third in line. It goes Georgia, Florida, and then or Florida, Georgia, however you see it, and then Tennessee. And it goes Tennessee,
Florida, Georgia line, and then Tennessee.
And that's your favorite. That makes you happy. I know.
Did you like that?
I did like that. That was probably the best thing you said all week. I think for this year, I'd be curious to see how it plays out. Is this a weird year? We've talked about this where the best teams just win and they bull through, or do you go with Crompton and say maybe they can catch Georgia early because their quarterback situation is different and this year is different in general? And injuries play a part in college sports. Now the coronavirus plays a part in college sports. That brings that has the opportunity to bring teams down very quickly that would otherwise would be very good.
And it goes both ways. It takes Tennessee losing some players against Arkansas, and then now that game's pretty tight, right?
Right. I'm glad you brought that up, because I think a huge part of this season, and this is why I picked them to go 5-5, Austin. You picked them to go 6-4, but your assumption, and this is where I didn't assume, your assumption is that they're just going to take care of business against Missouri, South Carolina, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. I didn't that's what you said. I know that's what you said.
No, it's not what I said.
On today's show, you did. That's what you insinuated right there, is that you felt like they could beat Florida. And if they could beat Florida, that means that they beat all the other teams that they should have beat.
No, I think they should. I think our expectations from a media standpoint, and hell, from the fan base's standpoint, is that Tennessee should beat the teams they're supposed to beat in Jeremy Pruitt's third year.
I don't think they will. I think that they will slip up, and it may be South Carolina, it may be Kentucky. Hell, we don't know what Mizzou is in their new coach. I don't think it's going to be Vandy, so I think you're safe there. But I'm betting, and this is just, and they may prove me wrong where they upset A&M and Florida, or Auburn and A&M. Who knows? But I think, I don't know. I just have a gut feeling that that's the way it could go.
I feel like they get Missouri early, where Missouri's got a rough start against Alabama tomorrow, and then Tennessee plays Missouri next week. Missouri's not ready. There's no way a first-year coach can come in there with that level. Like, Missouri's offense was bad last year. They could, Eli Drinkwitz is a really sharp offensive mind, right? But the guy had no time. He had no chance. I think there's a reason why that the SEC said, okay, Missouri, Arkansas, and the two Mississippi schools with new coaches, there's a reason why they got tougher schedules, because they know the school administration is going to give those teams and those staffs a chance after this year. They're not in jeopardy of getting fired. So let them have a hard schedule and let them get through this year however they do. So I think you look at 3 games for Tennessee that are absolute, like, ones that you can maybe check off and pin is Missouri, Arkansas, Vanderbilt. Those 3 programs are drastically different than Kentucky and South Carolina in the SEC East. Because Vanderbilt, I don't even know what kind of roster they're fielding right now with the level of opt-outs and just contract tracing and everything else that's happening there. Then Arkansas and Missouri are under resets, and they've had no offseason to be able to properly reset.
I'm just here to hold people accountable. Tennessee's program was drastically different than Vanderbilt's in 2016 at the end of the season, and Vanderbilt still beat.
Exactly. We know the turmoil that was happening behind closed doors with Butch Jones.
I'm just saying the programs were
right, but that turmoil is not happening with Jeremy Pruitt. Like, what I've seen from Jeremy Pruitt this summer is that he has his program moving in the right direction. Like, and that's something you can't disagree with. They're moving in the right direction. The players, the staff, the coaches, they seem aligned to have a similar vision. That 2016 end of the season for Butch Jones, it was such a disaster behind closed doors that we didn't find out until our buddy Travis Haney wrote that crazy article at 24/7.
Well, I understand. And Rob, it still happened. And you have to understand that it could still happen again. It's not out of the realm of possibility because that door opened. Now, what's out of the realm of possibility, I think, is Tennessee beating Alabama. I don't think that's going to happen. But on the other side, it could. Before we get – you bring up a point. Before we get to and I love this question about Garantano. Yeah. You're going to have to really go and dive deep into your vocabulary for what we're going to do in the prediction of the season and Jared Garantano. But Austin, Jeremy Pruitt was 8-5 with a bowl win last year. How much does this season matter to the trajectory of his football program in your mind?
That's such a tough thing to answer.
Well, that's why I asked.
But no, and I think I'm glad you did. Like, so ask it one more time so I can truly soak it in, right? Ask me the question one more time.
What do you think the 2020 season means to the trajectory of Jeremy Pruitt's Tennessee football program?
I do think it's important because year 3 is when you want to see true, tangible progress, like in the win column. And you want to continue to recruit to the level that he is recruiting. So you've got to be able to – I think you have to go no less than 5-5. If you get to 5-5, obviously we don't know how those 5 are going to be won/lost. But if you get to 5-5, I think you can still – argue progress, depending on what it looks like. No, you asked me a vague question before a 10-game schedule that we've never seen before. So you can't laugh at my answers.
Well, when you say argue progress, I think that was
no. But I mean, I'm not saying that you can automatically call it progress, but you could argue progress if they're 5-5. If they're 6-4 in the SEC, I think you have to be very pleased with the trajectory of the program, and you expect 2021 to be just another step forward.
Well, and 6-4 defines as you have upset one of those 5 teams.
Maybe 2.
right?
Maybe 2 and you drop one you shouldn't have. Like,
Right.
Like maybe you lose to Kentucky, but you beat Florida and A&M.
What is okay? So I think that's glass half, not fully full, but more full than empty. What if they go 4-6?
They go 4-6, and it's not like coronavirus related. Like, and they go 4
Or
and
do
6.
you use the coronavirus as an excuse no
Well,
matter
I
what?
brought that up because, like, I don't. If they go through and they don't have like a drastic outbreak that truly hamstrings a game, then you have to be still worried about Jeremy Pruitt and his in-game coaching, and see where he can grow from there. Because outside of in the game, Jeremy Pruitt's recruiting well. His staff is recruiting well. It seems like the culture is in a good place. If they go 4-6, you have to be concerned about the in-game coaching, or maybe you just blame it on Jarrett Garantano being what he is,
And then move on.
inconsistent, and you move on.
Yeah, and Brandon, I think a lot of people are aligned with Brandon as Tennessee fans. Being very competitive in big games goes a long way. You have to eliminate the 42-10 losses to Georgia, right?
Yeah.
You have to eliminate the 14 nothings in the first 5 minutes against Florida. You cannot have those where you get your brakes beaten off, and now you're like, now Alabama, I do believe is a different story. If you get your brakes beaten off by Alabama, I think that is just kind of like, well, that always happens. That's okay. But it's a different tune when now it's Georgia and Florida in the East, and then you have Texas A&M and Auburn, which I think are you can play competitively.
Yeah, Auburn's a tricky one because I don't really know what they lost a lot on defense this past year from a really dominant defense. Bo Nix is now a sophomore. Do you believe in him or not? And Gus Malzahn's a wild card. Whenever you expect Gus Malzahn to be great, he's bad. Whenever you don't expect anything from Auburn, they usually have a really big year. All right, A to Z Sports. Zach, let's get to this. We want you guys to predict Jarrett Garantano's season using 3 words. Predict Jarrett Garantano's season in 3 words. But first, Zach, tell the people about Calvin and Subtle.
Calvin and Subtle is where you need to go get your hardwood floors. Upgrade the equity of your house by simply calling 615-448-6414. That's calvinandsubtle.com. You can see right there at the bottom of the screen, brand new hardwood and finishings. They can come in, rip up that carpet that you've had for years, or that old hardwood floor that has just been scuffed to hell and back from your kids, riding their dump trucks on it. I don't know, skateboarding. I don't know what you do in your house, but you need to replace those hardwood floors.
Tonka trucks.
Yeah, those Tonka trucks. You need to replace that hardwood floors with some good quality, cost-efficient hardwood floors. Calvin and Subtle can help you. We trust them here at A to Z Sports. You can trust them. Give them a call, 615-448-6414. Once you go through the process of figuring out what you want to replace and where you want to put your brand new hardwood floors for a great price, 1 to 2 weeks. That's all it takes. They order the material and they install. That's calvinandsubtle.com.
All right, Vol fans watching the show, we're trying to give you guys some free money. Code MikeTitans at mybookie.ag will double your first deposit. You don't have to be a Titans fan, but you can double your first deposit at mybookie.ag with code MikeTitans, where we're going to pick these games here coming up later on this morning. But Zach, 3 words to predict Jarrett Garantano's season. I'm going to read through these. Jeff Rubel says very uneventful. That's kind of 2 words, but RJ says
no. Like that's fair. I'm 4 words are out. This is one of the reasons why I want to play this game. See how many people abide by the rules.
So you're saying you allow 2 words?
Well, right? Like there's a play on words that make that creative. 4 words. Now you're using too much.
Well, RJ says don't fail us. How about eddies? How do you rule eddies? Dump, stir, fire. That doesn't make sense.
I would adapt this. I would say dump, star, fire, because I think at times he can be a star, but the overall word is a dumpster fire.
That's more clever.
Just replace the E with an A, and I think you're good. I like that, Eddie.
Jacob says tutelage under Cheney. Carmen says consistent. Quick reads simple. That's 4 there, Carmen.
Yeah, that's.
Louis says hot seat. Brandon says up and down. Carmen says simple under Chaney. Hunter says good game manager. Danny says best college season. How about that? That's the most optimistic we've seen yet. Skylar says hated a Heisman sleeper. Whoa, how about that? B Hall says about damn time. Tom says leads to, is that a word? Averagidity? I don't know if that's a word. Dom says best season yet. The Guru says second team All-American. Wow. Okay. Great, better, best coming from Aaron. Breakout, consistent, efficient coming from John. Mookie says weekly migraine medication. Steve says Lord do help. Okay, Zach, what are your 3 words? You've been pretty high on your 3 words that you've had. We've got some good ones. I like weekly migraine medication so far, the best.
That is great. I actually, the first thing that popped in my head, and I don't know, Brandon and I are on the same page, was up and down, because I think that makes perfect sense. Sometimes he's up, sometimes he's down, more so than other quarterbacks, right? Every quarterback has ups and downs, right? But so I adapted with that, going off that. My 3 words is start, could, sit. Because I think start, right? He's going to start the season, but very easily he could sit because of where he is in his collegiate career, to say, if this thing gets out of hand, we need to start finding the future of our program. So I don't know what that is. If it's a Maurer thing, we talked a little bit about Harrison Bailey. You think that he could be starting in Missouri? I know you said that a couple of weeks ago. I still hold you to that.
I did not say that he could. I talked about a potential hypothetical situation.
No, don't backpedal.
No, you're spinning words, dude.
21st in prime.
No, that's ridiculous. So let's see. The Guru says this will be the first time he has had the same offensive coordinator 2 years in a row. He's going to have a breakout year. Now, while I do expect him to be better in the second year with Jim Chaney, and it is crazy, all the different coaching staffs and offensive philosophies that Jarrett Garantano has been through makes things difficult on him, but he has also made things difficult on himself. So my 3 words are same roller coaster. It's going to be the same thing we've been watching the last couple of years. He's going to have games where he has it. He's going to have games where he doesn't have it. He's going to have games where he starts out awful. He gets benched for 2 series. He comes back in and he makes a couple plays late to help the Vols potentially win. So my 3 words are same roller coaster, which means get your weekly migraine medication ready, because it's going to be a long 10 games.
Well, so we know what he is, right? We're not – I think what we've come to the conclusion, maybe as just a show in general, is we know what he is, and we're expecting him to make some fatal mistakes in a singular game.
Catastrophic.
Yeah, I mean, fatal is dead. Catastrophic means you're not dead, but your life has changed drastically.
And he's made plenty of catastrophic/fatal turnovers. Like the Bama game that Rob brings out. And Zach Reagan's right. JT Shrout is who is currently the second-string quarterback, because Brian Maurer's been out dealing with, I think, like a hamstring or soft tissue injury that's cost him a handful of practices. And then Harrison Bailey has been screwed over by the contract tracing of the situation.
Freshman partying.
No, not necessarily, but contract tracing with contact tracing. My bad.
There's no contracts yet in college football.
That's right. So JT Shrout being the second quarterback, I think that's kind of scary.
So update, we had a question about Cade Mays. Says it's going to be great because his offensive line, Cade Mays, trades Smith alone. If you could update everybody on the Cade Mays situation.
Yeah.
It's not completely clear.
No, the NCAA cleared Cade Mays after the appeal from the initial denial of immediate eligibility. Zach Reagan wrote an article at A2ZSportsNational.com this morning that you can go check out after the show about the SEC's rules. The SEC rules are that you're not granted immediate eligibility if you transfer inside the SEC. And so the SEC has yet to clear Cade Mays. There are two other examples of players who are still waiting on the same thing from the SEC that Cade Mays is. Gatewood, who is a quarterback who left Auburn, who is at Kentucky, has not been cleared. And then you have a defensive back, I believe, who left Georgia and is trying to go play at Ole Miss.
Have they done that last year? Has anybody ever transferred within and the SEC has okayed it?
Not immediately eligible, not to my knowledge.
So it's not going to happen.
It right now it feels like
this is hilarious. I guess I realized that. I didn't ever think about it, but now it's funny that everybody was getting their panties in a wad and just going crazy about hashtag free Cade Mays, and then they didn't read the rule book. Like, did you guys not realize this?
Well, no, and that's what Greg Sankey has been saying. And again, Zach Reagan's article does a good job of laying it all out there. But that Greg Sankey is saying that we're like these programs are welcoming in these transfers, knowing the rules, knowing that the SEC doesn't do this, but still getting mad about the SEC not allowing
him to play. Cade Mays is Akon. He's locked up, and he ain't getting out.
No, I think, and Jeff Rubel brings up Otis Reese, who is trying to transfer to Ole Miss from Georgia. Jeff Rubel says that Otis Reese claimed racist and Kirby flat out lying to him. I saw that. And then and Ethan Randy says
Justin Fields did something similar, not in the same conference, but that's one of the reasons why the NCAA granted his eligibility to go to Ohio State a season ago.
So Ethan Randy says so Austin's rant towards the NCAA meant nothing, and he knew it meant nothing. No, that's not necessarily true.
I don't know. Could be true.
The NCAA still sucks. And I don't think you should take this and think the NCAA is doing the right thing. The NCAA consistently does bad things when it comes to granting transfer waivers. Like, the NCAA should not be in the business of holding kids up from playing.
I find it funny the movement of Cade Mays was all a kind of a facade, because everybody should have known, if you read the rule books, it's like an HOA bylaw. It's sometimes ridiculous, but it's a bylaw.
But I think what some SEC schools like Kentucky, like Ole Miss and Tennessee are fighting for right now is that there needs to be removal of this rule or adaptation of the rule to allow for individual circumstances. And for Cade Mays, like, I don't know Otis Reese. I don't know Gatewood. I don't know where they come from, their background, whatever. But I do know Cade Mays is from Knoxville. I know there was a lawsuit with his family against Georgia football, and that's why he wanted to leave to go back home, right? That makes sense. I don't know if Otis Reese is going back home or not. But I think that the SEC should also, like, it's because this year doesn't count anyway. If you listen to
that's not what the SEC thinks.
The NCAA has told everybody that this year does not count.
That's not what the SEC thinks, and the SEC is the ones that are holding him back. Do you get, like, right? It's in the minds of the conference. And guys, let's not play naive to this. The whole reason why Cade Mays is not going to play on Saturday, and I would bet that he's not going to play the other 9 games, is because of Nick Saban. This is the Saban rule that he was bitching and moaning about at SEC Media Days years ago, and he got the rule changed, and he has his little gavel ready in Tuscaloosa to say, no, he ain't playing.
Exactly. And you're right. It is the Nick Saban rule. Because you remember when Georgia hired Kirby Smart, a safety tried to leave Alabama to go play at Georgia for Kirby Smart, and Nick Saban fought that till the end, and it got ugly. Really ugly.
And you don't want the face of your conference, which is Nick Saban, to be pissed.
But I do think this year gives an opportunity for a different circumstance.
No, you change the rule for one, you have to change it for other.
No, but you don't have to set precedents with this. You can say the coronavirus, there's no eligibility that counts anyway. Everybody can go play.
Cade Mays is not going to play. I would give, on a percentage, a scale of 0% to 100%, I would say it is at a 0.000001%. You have more of a probability of getting hit by double lightning.
Well, and I'm
Not
not going
lightning
that.
twice, double lightning at the same time.
I'm not going to that extreme, but I do agree with you that it's very unlikely for Cade Mays to play for the Vols this season, and
So
it's just
such a
something that
goofball for
needs.
nothing. That's what I don't like. Like
it's
when
what-
you're fighting a fight, like play the game, understand the rules. Don't try to like play this social
But
warrior
sometimes there are
thing.
bad rules, right? Sometimes there are bad rules, and how do bad? No, just let's. There are bad
Is
rules.
this such a bad rule?
I mean, I think the NCAA is going to grant one-time transfers anyway.
No,
So this is
the NCAA is going to allow the conferences to make the decision.
okay. So, but I do think there are bad rules, and the way to get rid of bad rules is to have massive social uproar. And so, if Tennessee fans are trying to think this is a way to get, I'm not like condoning it. I have never tweeted the hashtag Free Cade Mays because I think it's ridiculous. But it's an uphill battle. But you might as well try.
You've never tweeted for hashtag Free Cage Maze? Are you sure?
Unless it was in a show.
We could Google search this.
I mean, I think I might have tweeted it once in the show title because that was the topic we were talking about.
Oh well, no, that's a company thing. I don't care about this.
I don't know.
But
I personally have never tweeted Free Cade Mays.
let's see here. Hashtag Free Cade Maze. This is a great search, real quick. We can find out. And the survey says no recent tweets appear. You're correct.
Yeah, because it's ridiculous. Like, I think it's a little bit that's not going to change anything in my mind. So I'm not going to do it. Plus, I'm not a crazy Vol fan who's out here trying to get a guy eligible. Sean says it would be nice, but it's not going to happen. So I mean, I highly doubt Cade Mays will play this year for Tennessee.
Well, and I don't know what Brad means by like mob rule is the problem. I just think that not. I'm not trying to compare it to what is happening in our country. All right. So don't get this misconstrued. But I do think that just because you get a group of people to be outraged on a platform doesn't mean that rules and laws are just going to be changed. There are checks and balances system. That's why that you have to go about it a certain way to get things to change. You cannot just and again, I'm not trying to compare the two, but the Free Cade Mays protest, which was kind of what it was a protest against the rule, does not mean that the rule is just going to get changed. You have to find the correct way within the system to change the rule. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, I mean, I get what Tennessee fans are doing. And
well, they tried to do, and this is great. Vol Twitter. Rob says, bitches, Vol Twitter. Vol Twitter got what they wanted within their own group with Greg Schiano.
Yeah.
But when it comes to what they want for a possible competitive advantage within the conference, oh, no, my friend. You're not going to get that.
Well, and I think, here's my opinion. I think Joey Gatewood should be able to play at Kentucky. Otis Reese should be able to play at Ole Miss. And Cade Mays should be able to play at Tennessee this year. And I think because of the coronavirus, I think Greg Sankey has an opportunity to say, you know what? It's a weird year anyway. You guys can go play. And then it's the one adaptation to the rule because of a weird year in 2020. I think Greg Sankey has the power to do that if Nick Saban will crush him. And that's the whole thing is I think Nick Saban, you're exactly right, is puppeteering this entire situation.
Yeah, and you cannot mess up the master or the maestro of the conference, which is Nick Saban. And he will be that until he retires.
All right, A to Z Sports here live on a Friday. Let's get to game picks. We're going to start with South Carolina hosting the Tennessee Vols. We've got the game spreads. We're going to pick every SEC game against the spread, so get ready with us. But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. That is the website you should head to. If you do have that injury that happens in life, if you get hurt, a family member gets hurt, a loved one gets hurt, make sure they get the best coverage and healing process possible, and that is at the Bone and Joint Institute in Franklin. They have over a dozen doctors who do fantastic jobs at making sure you get back on your feet the right way, whether it's a foot injury or all the way up to spine or neck or head. They've got it covered. boneandjointtn.org. They're the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care.
All right, it's Friday. We're doing game picks. They're back. We're also week 3. I'm playing Titans at Vikings at high noon on Madden. Look, those streams have been pretty lit. A lot of people watching that. So come on, join. You got nothing to do at lunch on a Friday. Come watch the Titans try to beat the Vikings in a virtual showdown. I'm scared to death of this, Austin. And we do. I think it is right. It's a weird year, right? So,
yeah.
But we have to put something on the line for this year's picks. Now, the mortgage picks are different because, we can't do that. The Big Ten's not playing until October. The Pac-12 is not playing, right? So, this is going to be a different year, just like 2020 has always been. But we have to put something on the line.
Yeah.
And I have not done well. It's been close, but I've always come the loser, and I hate that. It drives me nuts. I've always been the loser on these college football picks when the year is done. I got to change that.
Yeah, I've won 3 seasons in a row. So we start the 4th season. Are we lining up some cash on this?
I'm down for anything.
I think we run it back with $500 for the year.
You're gonna just keep taking money out of my wallet.
I mean, that I think is that what you're looking for?
Well, I'm looking for something of some ridicule and some money. So I think we can split the difference. I think we can do. Here's what I propose.
Because I've won $850 off of this the last 3 years.
I know. I
paying for some Christmas gifts.
I paid. Let's do this. Because we're not having mortgage picks, I think this is a good idea. Let's do $300 for the season, and the loser has to dress up as the opponent's fan. So if I win, you have to dress up as an Ole Miss fan, okay. And if you win, I have to dress up as a Tennessee fanboy, a Vol fanboy. What do you say about that?
That's cool. That's cool with me. I was wondering if you would want to raise the stakes, the dollar figure, because we've done that every year. But I'm cool. 2020 is weird. I get it.
If it was a normal year, I absolutely would.
The football season makes we have no idea what to expect. So I think that's fine. So $300 for the season.
So here's, I guess it doesn't matter. I guess it doesn't matter because we're picking each games. So coronavirus can't really screw this up.
Correct.
Completely.
Because if a game gets postponed, we don't pick it.
We know the information. All right, that's fair. So virtual handshake.
Yeah, virtual handshake emoji. That's what we got here. All right, Zach, let's get this thing going. Stress is high. Okay, we're starting with the Vols on the road. Tennessee -3.5 at South Carolina. I've seen some good picks already. People saying that I saw somebody say that Jarrett Garantano, hey, Corey, says South Carolina by 6. JG throws a pick 6. I saw Louis think South Carolina's going to win. So, Zach, I'll go ahead and get this thing started. You got to grab my pen. I'm going to take, reluctantly, South Carolina to lose. I'm going to take Tennessee -3.5. I don't necessarily like this because I don't know what to expect from Jarrett Garantano, but important to note, South Carolina is starting new quarterback who grad transferred in from Colorado State, Colin Hill, who was at Colorado State playing a spot duty, not a starter there, but played under Mike Bobo, who is the offensive coordinator at South Carolina. So there's some familiarity there, but South Carolina doesn't have a lot. They lost their running back. They lost their best wide receiver in Brian Edwards. They lost their true freshman running back, who was a stud, to a torn ACL in fall camp. I just think Tennessee -3.5 is the smart way to go with this because I don't know what to expect from either team.
Yeah, this is the hardest week, right? I don't know anything about it, right? I mean, I know a little bit about Tennessee and that information about South Carolina. This is the one game that I feel like I would pick the underdog, which would be South Carolina. But I just think that Tennessee learned its lesson last year. I don't think that Tennessee's going to lose this game.
That's a big deal too.
Yeah, I go more on like pissed off for greatness because we're not going to start the season like we did last year. We're going to start the season this year like we ended last season. So unfortunately, I have to agree with you. Tennessee, I take them.
All right, so Tennessee -3.5. Yeah, you're right. Jeremy Pruitt has been god-awful in both season opening games, losing, getting demolished by West Virginia, and then also losing in a bad way to Georgia State. All right, the second game on our list, I put this second, Zach, so we can go ahead, get my alma mater and your alma mater out of the way at the top. So I have Florida winning the SEC East. Florida, number 5 in the country right now, opens up as a 13.5-point favorite on the road at Ole Miss. I'll let you start this time since I went first last time. How do you feel about this one?
I mean, even if you gave me 14, I don't think that I would pick Ole Miss. I think Florida is going to cover, and they're going to win by 17, 24. I think it's going to be a blowout. I hope that I'm completely shocked. But I base this on players and experience and coaching, right? Dan Mullen has had some time to get his program right. They've got some big, big boys up front. Ole Miss, small. They are. They are a finesse team that tries to beat you with speed. I don't know what Lane Kiffin's offense is going to be, but Matt Corral has some tendencies to throw interceptions, and John Rice Plumlee can't throw the football. Or at least, hopefully he learned it this offseason, but he sure as hell couldn't do it last year. All he could do is a glorified – you know what John Rice Plumlee is perfect. He is the center fielder, quarterback, and like point guard for your high school team. The white guy that dates the homecoming queen. And coincidentally, when I was in Oxford, is a long story, but John Rice Plumlee's girlfriend babysits one of my friends' kid. So she looks exactly like you would think John Rice Plumlee's girlfriend looks. She's blonde. She's beautiful. But he can't he is not an elite quarterback. He can't throw. He can just run. And that's not going to win you any SEC games. His ceiling, he just has a ceiling. And it's not one that is going to win you big-time SEC games to start the year. I have Florida. I hate that I have Florida, but I do.
Yeah, I think Florida is just an easy pick here just because Kyle Trask and Dan Mullen, you're looking at trends to pick in the offseason or trends to look at in the offseason, and it's quarterback, play caller, and quarterback who all stayed together over the offseason. And I think that's Florida, right? You got Dan Mullen, who's both head coach and play caller, and Kyle Trask, who's got experience from last year with Felipe Franks transferring out. So I think that's interesting there too. So I think we're both taking Florida -13.5. We've got Kentucky Auburn.
I'd love to see Tracy's pick. Ole Miss upset by 3 in overtime.
I mean, that would be fun. That'd be fun, Tracy. I'd sign up for that. I mean, that'd get us a week 1 instant classic out of the gate. All right, so we've got
they're wearing baby blues.
I'm all about that. I'm all about that. What's wrong with Lane Kiffin's face, by the way? Is he okay? Is this a medical thing?
Just gained weight. I think he just gained weight.
He doesn't look good.
He doesn't look good.
He needs to travel up to do Mandu in Memphis real quick, and it's not that far of a drive.
The worst weight. All right, there's 2 really bad weights. All right, the worst weight is neck weight, right? Because you can't. You're not wearing a turtleneck, right?
He's got the gator mask,
right? Well, yeah, it's true. Now there is an opportunity, so I may take these back. But neck weight is the worst weight. The other worst weight in the summertime is stomach weight. You can't run away from it. It's just there. Neck and stomach weight are the worst weights.
Yeah, he doesn't look healthy at all. Not good. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit.
He never got out of quarantine.
Yeah, he's been working. See, that's what I think. I think coaches are okay with getting fat because they can spin as I've just been grinding in the film room.
Yeah, but Coach O is a psychopath, and Coach O works and lift weight after a 12-hour day.
That's true. A to Z Sports. I mentioned Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness for 1 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room. They've got 2 studios in Memphis. So if Kiffin wants to shave off that neck weight and that gut weight, you can go to Mandu and get a free workout. Mandu.com, your first workout also free, Mandu.com.
All right, next up, Auburn and Kentucky. I'm not even going to say the rankings. I think the rankings are complete bogus. I'm not even going to say them. They don't even count.
I put them in there for a reason.
Auburn and Kentucky. This is where I think we could differ, Austin, because I think you're going to pick one team. I know who I'm going to pick. Are you picking Kentucky?
I mean, I told you on Wednesday, I've got Kentucky going 6-4, and their big win of the year is this week, opening weekend. I'm taking Kentucky, the Wildcats, plus 7.5 at Auburn. I don't know if it is at Auburn, but yeah, Kentucky plus 7.5 at Auburn. That's where I'm going.
Good. I'll take War Eagle. I think I can steal this.
All right, so we got 7.5. That went down from 10. I would have loved to jump on that when it was at 10. 7.5 makes it a little iffy, but I think Kentucky has a chance to win outright. Rob says, Austin, what are you doing? I'm creating separation for the fourth year in a row. That's what I'm doing. All right, next game on the list. Mississippi State at LSU. Tigers by minus 16.5. Goofy ass line. Minus 16.5.
Get Tigers.
Same. I think this is going to be like a 31-3 type of score.
Well, Mike Leach, right? So can Mike Leach backdoor and score? I think this is where the bet happens. Is
Backdoor cover.
Mike Leach's offense just based on like efficiency at the end, because you're just running like drag routes, right? I think that's where the backdoor cover could play. I just have to see their offense first.
Yeah, well, Rob says Leach will score points. I mean, he's scored points in the Pac-12. He's scored points in the Big 12, where guess what? They don't play defense out there in either conference.
And LSU plays defense.
Yeah, I don't care if they lost 18 starters or not. They're going to play defense. I think LSU's offense is what holds this game back from being an absolute devastating blowout. I think Mississippi State is in for a rough season. So we're both taking LSU minus 16.5?
Yeah.
All right, Zach. All right, next game, Georgia. We got 3 big spreads to end this.
Are you going Arkansas because you were so low on Georgia's quarterback situation? Are you going Arkansas to cover?
So it's 27.5.
Yeah.
Arkansas is so bad. So bad. Like they're losing a group of 5 teams every year. I don't think Georgia needs here's what I expect to happen. I think DeJuan Mathis will start because JT Daniels has not been cleared yet. I think Mathis will start. He has the ability to use his legs, which makes this game easier for Georgia's offense. I think I'm still going to go Georgia 27.5.
I'm going Georgia. You know how I feel about Georgia this season. I think they're better than everybody thinks with all the things surrounding them. I go Georgia. I think they're going to cover. I think it's going to be.
Now, Rob brings a good point. Unless Kirby doesn't run it up on his buddy Sam Pittman.
Ooh, that is interesting.
And Felipe Franks starting quarterback at Arkansas. We forget about that. Grad transfer allowed to play immediately.
I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
God, from Florida to Arkansas.
Downgrade.
And on one play. That's the sad part. And it's just the realization of what football is and sport is. Felipe Franks on a Friday could get anything he wanted in Gainesville. And then all of a sudden he breaks his leg and he wakes up in Arkansas.
Fayetteville. Ugh. Like bad.
Well, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. All right, Zach. Second to last game, Alabama, same spread, 27.5 at Mizzou. Your turn to go first.
I go Alabama. Give me Alabama. I think they're going to just boat race them.
Nick Saban doesn't cover big spreads, but usually that's when the spread's like 34. So I think Alabama wins 4 touchdowns, easy, because they're going to want to come out there and prove that Mac Jones can dish to Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, and the running backs reload. Their offensive line's fantastic. So I think big deal for, I also take Alabama. The guru, clearly not good at listening and comprehension, saying, what? How was Franks able to transfer in conference? Please answer this. Like I said, graduate transfer and undergraduate transfer are also different. So that is the reason why they're guru, of why Felipe Franks is able to play immediately at Arkansas. Last game of the SEC slate and the biggest spread of the SEC slate. That is Vandy at Texas A&M minus 31.
I mean, I morally cannot go with Vanderbilt to cover this spread. I can't do it. I think it's 31 is so many points in the SEC, though.
Vandy isn't an SEC team this year.
Fair.
I don't even know how many practices Vanderbilt's gotten in.
I think Vanderbilt's going to quit midseason.
Can they do that? No, they're not going to. The only reason they don't do that, I mean, they're not officially going to quit.
They can petition that they can't field the players.
Well, and there is a rule. Did you see that? The rule that if you get under 53 scholarship players, then you have to forfeit that game. And I don't know how many scholarship players Vandy's starting the season with.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm gonna take A&M by 50.
Yeah, we agree.
So the only difference is
Kentucky Auburn.
All right.
Tracy says, I doubt Vandy will score 30 points the entire season. It's going to be like they're playing Ken Seals, who's a freshman quarterback who's got a lot of ability, but he doesn't have a lot around him right now.
I'm serious on this. Like, I'm not going to joke. I believe that Vandy could opt out.
I think the only reason why they don't is $41 million.
If they opt out based on coronavirus, they're still going to get that money, Austin.
I don't think the SEC will allow them to do that.
It's a loophole.
Can they? Are you for sure?
You don't think that the
No, you're asking me to think. You don't know that for sure. You don't know it's a loophole. It potentially could be, but I think the reason why they try to play these games is to get TV money. You can't get TV money when you're not playing on TV.
Shared revenue. You're in a
but you have to hold up your end of the contract by playing your game.
Based on coronavirus, they can justify anything. These people are nuts, and they're smart. They're nuts and they're smart, right? I don't sit there and say that Vanderbilt, the board of directors, aren't educated. That's what they're basing their entire thing on, is education greater than football. We don't want to play because we're trying to keep our campus safe. Now you're not going to give us the money for safety reasons. They're going to lawyer the F up and attack the SEC if, in fact, that scenario plays
out. And the
out.
SEC says you didn't hold up your end of the contract by playing on TV.
I just think Vanderbilt can find some pretty good lawyers.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they got their own. They don't have to go out and find them. They're right there under their nose. All right, A to Z Sports here live on a Friday. Look, we agreed on everything but Auburn, Kentucky, so that's the game to watch this weekend for sure. All right, Zach, time for our good news. Ain't that good news every Friday to send us to the weekend? What is your good news? We have ruled one good news off the table. You cannot say that your good news is that the SEC is back, because that's everybody's good news this week. So what's your good news this week? But Zach, first tell the people about the Tucker Agency.
Yeah, the Tucker Agency can help you. This is good news. Put money back into your pocket. TuckerTN.com. It's Nashville's independent insurance agency. And Will Tucker and his team can hook you up, change your policy, and put money back into your pocket. Life insurance, homeowners insurance, renter's insurance, car insurance. If you're driving a car, I know you have car insurance. It's street. To be street legal, you have to have car insurance to drive a vehicle. Lower that car insurance by bundling. They'll change your policy. The average customer that emails Will@TuckerTN.com, just say, hey, Will, heard about you on A to Z Sports. How do I save money? Average customer saves 20%. 20% right back into your pocketbook. That is Will@TuckerTN.com.
All right, A to Z Sports, ain't that good news? Get your good news ready. Don't forget, here's great news. MyBookie.ag, code MyTitans, doubles your first deposit. If you're trying to bet on any of these SEC games this weekend, NFL games, NBA playoffs, they've got everything there. MyBookie.ag, code MyTitans to double your first deposit. Ain't that good news? Zach Goodman says, my good news is I got a shout out from Jonathan Crompton yesterday. He did, because Zach Goodman said or asked if Crompton had been drinking already. So here's some good news for all of you guys, Vol fans watching the show. If you missed it yesterday, this is not my official good news, by the way. But if you missed it yesterday, we announced that Jonathan Crompton and A to Z Sports will have a big orange halftime and post-game show throughout the football season. Looking forward to that. The halftime show is going to be huge. The post-game show is going to be awesome. So that's great news for all Vol fans who follow A to Z Sports. We're going to have some fun doing that. So it's also brought to you by BioPure Music City, a great sponsor who's doing great things around the country right now, and especially here in Nashville, BioPure Music City on Facebook for sure. So more good news. Let's see. Danny, my good news is deer season opens tomorrow. Wife and I will be hunting with me. Okay. Let's see. I don't know what happened, Zach, but my thing zoomed in, so you can take it over.
Well, as far as what?
Yeah, my screen went blank for a second. I'm good now. But my bad. Guru says good news is Anthony Davis looks like he'll be okay. Huge scare last night. Did you watch that, Zach?
Yes, I did watch that. And LeBron, they closed things out. Great defense at the end. That was a huge 3-1. Now they're up 3-1, all but probably going to go to the NBA Finals. And I think the Lakers are the best team in the NBA. They have been all season, and they have been all playoffs. And I expect them to win the NBA championship, which will, if it happens, make this year so much better for me.
Yeah,
I'm a LeBron James fan. I've been to finals games when he played, when he won years ago. That would make me happy. That absolutely would.
Kyle,
you know what? I've decided this week, Austin.
Okay.
So 2020 is weird, and so I'm going to get a little bit weird. And it is September 25th. This is the decision that you make on if you're going to grow your beard out. And I've decided I'm going full beard for the winter. Until
so starting now?
It's starting now until December 31st. We are going full beard.
Winter continues over into January. Right?
And you know what? My beard may continue over into January. But this is the year of the beard, and it's based on one thing, is I'm getting older and I'm seeing a little bit more grays in this beard. And so that scares the absolute hell out of me.
We're about to find out how many grays you got once you grow that thing out.
Yeah.
For sure. So let's see. More good news. Aaron says, my good news is I ordered my 2021 calendar for next year. That is a super adult, responsible good news.
Oh, I thought, what kind of calendar is this?
I don't know. Kyle says, just got a new dog. Mookie says, good news, going to go take a nap. Brad says, got a job at a golf course. Now I get free golf. That's awesome news. Johnny goes into my good news because Johnny asks, any good bets you're placing this weekend on my bookie? Yes. My good news is actually a bet that I didn't make, but I did jump on Titans -2.5 at the Vikings at mybookie.ag, code MyTitans to double that deposit. I'm glad that I did not take, because I had it in the bet slip, Zach. I had Jags -3 in the bet slip last night, trying to figure out if I was going to put money on the Jags to get to 2-1 and beat the Dolphins. And the last second, I was like, I don't want to do this. I was like, I'm not in. And my good news is I did not waste $15 by betting on Gardner Minshew. So now I will probably never do that for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he didn't look very good. I mean, he missed wide open guys.
Just getting sacked a bunch, fumbles, threw another pick.
The best line of the night is when he missed I can't remember. He missed a wide open receiver, and Trey Aikman goes, God, you don't get those guys wide open for 15 years.
Yeah, so that was my good news, is that I decided against betting on the Jags to cover the spread against the Dolphins last night. That dodged a bullet.
That saved you some cash.
Yes.
So my good news goes to a feeling. And I believe, and I hope, I'm going to knock on wood right now. I think for the first time since March, I have a feeling that people are starting to come closer to how I think about the coronavirus. I think that And I think the news media has let up on the fear baiting of what it is. I think we're finding out more factual information. I think we're understanding what the virus is. I think people are still abiding by the mask laws. I hope that eventually ends. I don't know when that will, but for the time being, my feeling is I feel that humans are not as scared about the coronavirus today than ever before. And what a refreshing feeling. It has taken others longer to get to this point, but the statistical data on even young people, right, is they had like 48,000 college students get it across the country, and 2 were hospitalized, 0 deaths. That is a positive, and I'm not talking about, I'm talking about that is a inspirational, uplifting story that the media should cover. That is good news, guys. And it's not based on how we think about it. It's based on that the virus didn't take a like deadly turn to now kill everybody, right? That would have been terrible. That would have turned into like a plague. So my feeling, and the good news is that we are taking steps to get closer and closer to our daily lives. That's good news.
Agree. Yeah, it's very good news for sure. And
Rick says, check your data. I don't know what you're insinuating on data, but go check the data and take that for data, because it is getting better. And now the stories are coming about, the state of Tennessee and the mayor's office. I don't know if you saw the thing on paulkowarski.com yesterday about the back and forth between the mayor's office and medical professionals. Like, don't fear bait us, people. I think the Big Ten and the Pac-12 tried to do that. And what are they doing now? All they're doing is eating a bunch of crow because their ass tried to fear everybody into canceling the season. And now all of a sudden they're just suddenly playing a month later. What a crock. That is the biggest low. And it's good that they're playing, but they should have to eat some crow based on that. And so all the Corona bros out there, I'm glad that we have good news.
Well, Rick says read everything, report everything. That's what Zach's talking about. Zach's saying don't just report the negative stuff. That's I've said this for now over a month. If it bleeds, it leads. That's what news is, and that's what news has been for decades. If it bleeds, it leads on the news. And negative stuff always gets more ratings on TV. Rick says he's not disagreeing. So that's good to know that Rick's not disagreeing, because sometimes comments don't come through exactly clear like that. But yeah, it is good news that I feel like normalcy feels closer to us now than it had been, let's say, August 25th. 1 month ago feels a lot different right now.
Yeah, and I still think we have a long way to go when it comes to how the media is reporting it. I saw something retweeted into my timeline as an AP article about a coronavirus update, but you had to actually click the link to get the positive news. And what a crap! That's horse, that's horse. No. Because if it was bad news, they would have led with it. They would have closed.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the issue, right?
That's the whole saying is that the inaccurate report or the lie travels around the world while the truth is putting its shoes on, right?
Yeah, I'm not talking about truth. Both could be correct. The AP is supposed to be a non-biased publication that we're supposed to, the Associated Press is supposed to believe in. And they're saying they're still playing the same click game where negative headline, coronavirus deaths, and then once it starts to get better and improve, it's coronavirus update. That's not right. And that drives me crazy. And again, it goes to negative news. Today is good news is because they're at least giving a coronavirus update. And I clicked the damn link to find the positive news. And what the coronavirus update is that cases has gone down drastically. Deaths are almost near at an all-time low, and hospitals are free and clear to have other situations come into their doorways that need to be addressed. That's positive. That's good news. The media and everything else needs to do their part to get us back to normal life, to save our economy, to save our well-being, and to save our mental state. Let's just talk about that too. The mental influence of what this thing and what it has done to Americans and really human beings all over the world. I think this is good. We are moving in the right direction, baby.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Good Friday show. SEC is back. We made our picks. We'll see what happens tomorrow with 7 SEC games. Thanks for watching, guys. Hey, Buck Rising has a really good podcast out with Corey Davis, Titans wide receiver. Also, Teron Davenport and Nate Washington. Find that in the A to Z Sports Podcast Network feed, wherever you get your podcasts. And Zach, at noon, high noon, Titans, Vikings, Madden 21.
The Icy White Stormtroopers will be on.
Not Stormtroopers. Not Stormtroopers. All right. Have a good Friday. See you later.